who was about to embark on his last missionary journey, went to Jerusalem first, even though he knew he would face difficulties. As expected, less than a week after arriving in Jerusalem, the Jews who hated Paul began to slander him. Paul brought a Gentile into the temple. At that time, a Gentile who entered the temple was supposed to be killed. Paul had never done that. After hearing the lies made up by those who hated Paul, many Jews immediately gathered. They dragged Paul out of the temple to kill him. When the uproar arose, the Roman commander hurriedly arrived with soldiers and centurions. When they arrived, they saw the excited Jews beating Paul. The commander thought that he would first have the soldiers take Paul out. But at this time, Paul said to the commander, "Please let me speak to these men who assaulted me." Even in the midst of assault and the threat of death, Paul wanted to preach the gospel. Paul, who had received permission from the commander, began to tell his story, as if the purpose of his coming to Jerusalem was precisely to say this. He told the story of how he came to faith. "I am a Jew by birth. I was born in Tarsus, and I was educated in the Torah by the famous Rabbi Gamaliel. I am as zealous for God as you are. I persecuted those who believed in Jesus, handing them over to prison and killing them. I was just like you. But when I went to Damascus to arrest the believers in Jesus, a great light from heaven flashed around me, and as I fell to the ground, I heard a voice saying, 'Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me?' It was the voice of Jesus. Jesus said that he was sending me to the Gentiles." Paul is saying that he had no choice but to carry out the command of Jesus after hearing it. When the Jews heard this, they shouted, "Let's get rid of this man from the earth. He does not deserve to live." Just as the crowd shouted to crucify Jesus, the people shouted at Paul. In the end, Paul was imprisoned by the commander. From this incident and on, Paul was imprisoned and tried, and until the day he died, he lived a life without freedom. However, as Paul moved for trial, he had the chance to speak before the Sanhedrin in Jerusalem, before the Jewish king in Caesarea, before the Roman governor, and in Rome about what kind of person he was and how he had changed after meeting Jesus. Although Paul's body was imprisoned, the words of Jesus that Paul had preached, the gospel, were not imprisoned. "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom," Paul said. As the saying goes, even though Paul was imprisoned, he had a great opportunity to spread the gospel. "Preach the gospel in season and out of season," Paul said. And as the saying goes, Paul always preached the gospel, whether he was free, imprisoned, or on trial. Everyone, we hope that all of us who learned the gospel through Paul will obey the words of Jesus, who called and commanded us beyond freedom and time. This week, let everyone spread Jesus anytime, anywhere.